Welcome, everybody. Episode number 10 of Placed in Shelter with your host, Ryan Catarozoli. And today we've got a special show. We brought Tenley on today because it's Friday, so we're going to be a little bit lighter here today, and we're going to talk about what I like to call the success guide to quarantine and shelves, a little continuation from yesterday's talk. But we're going to stop sharing here for a second because we want to get Tenley on. Now, quarantine's been hard for everybody, and what I'd like to say is the last week here, I feel like I've finally come to terms with my captors, and it seems like things are getting back to normal. We're starting to see some more business, conversations. Seems like everybody's really picking up the quarantine thing. So then I open up my computer, and we got you an early meme for today. Howie sent me this one, and it said, "Oh, look, the virus is still here, and it's snowing again." Yes, that's right. Here in Wisconsin, it was only 70 and sunny a few days ago, and today we had flurries in the air, right? So it's cold outside. But what do we decide to do? What are our quarantine success guide stories? What do we do instead? Well, we rock out to Dad's terrible music. What were we listening to? Some 80s hair metal? That's right. And you were dancing on the counter? Who's that?
Me?
That's right. And then what did you do after that? What is that? Is that the bounce house?
Yeah.
Grandma and Grandpa got us a bounce house. So now this is the new babysitter. We just throw them in there. We put a helmet or two on and let them go at it. And what did you find yesterday in the bounce house? Did you found a mouse downstairs in the basement? Yeah, so we've had an exciting day. And then after the bounce house, what do we decide we're going to do? Well, we're going to go to the water park. So my shower is now the water park, so we have our nice splash table in there, right? That's pretty fun. You like that, huh? All right, well, we're going to let Tenley go. And we're going to move into today's topic, which is a continuation of yesterday's. Yesterday's, I talked a little bit more broad stroke. And what I actually found out afterwards was that we have success guides set up for our hot and cold shelves. And then I've put together a few pointers on how to prolong if you have a microwave sandwich going into one of our shelves or cabinets. So I know before I was just limiting or showing you some of the problems. Here's some of the solutions that we have. So starting out with the hot side of things. This is going to be 7 steps for you for success. So we have a full sheet. You can definitely get this from any of your regionals, but here's the synopsis, the basics. Number 1, preheat the shelf and overhead heat, if available, for at least 30 minutes before putting food product there. This will make sure that your equipment is up and running properly. Number 2, reduce the portion size. As you have much larger containers, the things are going to last a lot less. They're going to be getting colder much faster. So as you have a smaller portion size and you are filling that more often, it gives your customer the option of seeing how often product is being put in, and it looks as if it's being prepared fresh as opposed to being held on the counter. Number 3, serving vessels should be shallow. Once again, this goes with number 2, less product in each one. And number 4, serving vessels should be flat on the bottom, so you have more contact with the heated shelf itself. That way, your food inside the dish is going to be in contact with the heated part of the vessel. Number 5, going along with the heated vessel, you should always preheat that vessel, whether it's a plate, a platter, a pan, anything. It should be preheated ahead of time. Number 6, all food should be at or above their proper serving temperature, and all items should be stirred frequently. So that way you're constantly moving that heat around, you're not getting any hot spots on the bottom. As we move into the cold side, you're going to see some of the same things come out here. Number 1, pre-chill the cold shelf for at least 30 minutes beforehand. You don't want to just turn it on and put something on there because it does take time for it to get down to temperature. Number 2, reduce the container size. We already heard that one earlier. Number 3, serving potentially hazardous foods require continuous attention. Anytime that food product is placed in an area where there's regular ambient temperature, it needs to be continuously watched to make sure that it's staying under 40 degrees. Number 4, serving vessels must have a flat bottom. We already talked about that. And number 5, all food product must be below the danger zone before you put it onto the cold shelf. Once again, there's not enough energy there to take something at 60 degrees or room temperature and bring it down under the hazardous temperatures. Now the microwave one. Number 1, test, test, test. Something very simple. Take 10 of the same sandwich, microwave it for the same amount of time, temp all of them, and place them in the cabinet, place them in the merchandiser, place them on the heated shelf. And then in 15-minute increments, you don't have to eat them all, but take them out of the wrapper, and check and see what the quality is. That's going to be the easiest way for you to determine where that sandwich or that particular brand that hits its quality degradation. So this is the point in which I know food is no longer good on here. Okay. Number 3, remove the food from its original wrapper and place it in a new packaged container. And here's the reason why. Remember, we talked about all that condensation on the outside, which is going to then make the top of that product soggy. This will allow you to take some of that condensation away. And I would also advise putting it in some sort of breathable packaging, whether that's a cardboard cutout with little holes, so it does allow it to breathe. That will give you extended hold times as well. And last but not least, don't put the sandwich in direct contact with the heated base. It's the one time we do want to raise it up slightly, especially on a merchandiser. Remember a couple episodes ago, we talked about those trivets. That will prevent the bottom of it, which is lacking a lot of moisture that was taken out via the microwave process, and it will prevent that from getting hard and crunchy on the bottom. So those are your success guides to not only quarantine living, but also your success guides to heated and cold shelves, along with some microwaving. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing the screen, and we're going to open up to you on this lovely Friday for some questions. Once again, at the very bottom, you'll see the chat function. Choose the chat, and then you can enter your question in right there. So let's see here. Do we have any questions? Nicole, why are you so amused by my suffering? Well, because everybody's suffering right now, and sometimes it makes you feel better when somebody's suffering even more. Any other questions today? Awesome. Well, then what I'm going to do is go ahead and share my screen again. I have a couple of memes for you. Number 1, Zoom meeting with audio only versus a Zoom meeting with video. I thought this one held very, very true. So for all of those that don't have video up and are not wearing a costume, this is what we're assuming. Next up, first day of quarantine versus the second day of quarantine. I know how that feels. So with that, we're going to wrap up today's episode. I don't see any other questions coming in. As always, if you're catching this on YouTube, you can always join and be part of the conversation live, 3 p.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. If you do have any memes you'd like to show or display, or any kind of topic ideas or questions you didn't want to ask today or maybe forgot about, simply give us an email at placedinshelter@gmail.com. As always, if you hit the bell notification, it will notify you every time one of our videos goes live. And liking, sharing, and subscribing are all ways to let us know you're enjoying the content. And with that, thanks everybody and have a wonderful weekend.